The brutal murder of a 10-year-old girl left her community outraged and demanding justice. Will the truth behind Victoria Martin's death ever come to light?
She has a little girl inside the house.
How old?
How old is your daughter? 10. Oh, yeah, she's 10.
Police discovered 10-year-old Victoria Martin's body dismembered and on fire inside an apartment in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
It was August 2016. I got a text early in the morning from a source of mine who said this is the worst homicide he had ever seen and that a child was mutilated.
Nancy Laughlin, a reporter from Albuquerque news station KOAT, has been following the case since the very beginning.
The information that day that we were told is that Victoria had been so brutally killed. I mean, she had been literally chopped up and set on fire. Her body parts were put in bags in different parts of the apartment.
The whole thing is beyond anyone's conception that this could happen, especially to a little 10-year-old child.
Within hours, they arrested her mother, her mother's boyfriend, and his cousin. They were all three at the apartment.
Victoria's mother, Michelle Martins, Michelle's then-boyfriend, Fabian Gonzalez, and Fabian's cousin, Jessica Kelly, were charged with multiple felonies. The charges included child abuse, murder, and sexual penetration of a minor.
That day, what we were told was her mother told police that Victoria had been drugged, that she watched her daughter get raped and murdered. The first responders were horrified.
I've been involved in the criminal law for over 30 years, and this is the most inhumane case I think I've come across.
When the news of Victoria's death hit the community, it hit hard. Government officials and citizens alike pushed for changes in legislation, including the return of the death penalty.
My personal belief is we need the death penalty for those limited and horrific circumstances.
They're predators. They're molesters of children. And I'm asking that the FBI step in and investigate and prosecute this case through the United States Attorney's Office.
When Victoria's autopsy report was released in November 2016, it revealed she had been strangled to death. Some of the details put Michelle Martin's version of events into question.
There was no meth in her system. And that was something that I thought was unusual because the mother had said that they gave her meth. And they kept, investigating. January rolls around, there's a new district attorney, and he brings in some very seasoned detectives to review the case. They're looking at all the cell phone data and all the any technology that they have there. And then it turns out as the evidence comes back, it's not matching what she's saying. So as the investigation continues, they figure out she gave what is called a false confession.
For more than a year, police investigated the false claims made by Michelle Martins.
The information that was guiding the initial investigation and the charging decisions in the case were based primarily on that statement. And we now know that that statement is false.
Her defense attorney was just saying that it's very, very rare, but Michelle Martins, she's a people pleaser. So if she's asked a question, she's going to answer whichever way she thinks that they want to hear.
It was completely made up. And so they went down, the investigators went down this road based on what the mother had told them, and that road turned out to be a complete dead end.
This is what they believe happened. So she gets off her school bus, she goes to the apartment, Fabian Gonzalez takes her to a gas station, they come back, Fabian Gonzalez and Michelle Martin's cell phone data shows that they leave the apartment. According to police, they go buy some drugs from one of his relatives.
Cell phone and detailed Google location data corroborated those eyewitness accounts and definitively placed Michelle and Fabian outside the apartment at the time of the rape and murder.
They leave the little girl with Jessica Kelly, Fabian Gonzalez's cousin, who had just gotten out of prison and was staying at the apartment and has a long, violent criminal history.
Jessica Kelly's prior convictions include battery and assault of a police officer, among others.
Jessica Kelly, her version of events is that Victoria was in her bedroom, that the door was open. She says a man she didn't know came into the apartment and killed Victoria. Then he leaves. Then Fabian comes back with Michelle Martins, and they keep Michelle occupied. She doesn't check on her daughter. As the hours go on, investigators believe that Jessica Kelly and Fabian Gonzalez chop her up. They put her body parts in bags throughout the apartment, and then they set her on fire.
I wish I would have knew what the I was getting myself into, dog.
put me away for life.
In addition to the cell phone data and new testimony, investigators also discovered male DNA on Victoria's body.
There was partial DNA found on Victoria's back that didn't match Fabian. Now, his DNA was found in other parts of the apartment, but on Victoria's body, there was partial DNA from another male. They checked with all the first responders, didn't match theirs. So it's a partial DNA, so it's really difficult to match.
There's a lot of emphasis that's been put on this unknown male, but at the end of the day, what do we know other than Jessica Kelly's story and the fact that there is some DNA, male DNA of an unknown origin?
The murder and sexual assault charges against each suspect were then dropped. In June 2018, Michelle Martins pleaded guilty to 1 count of child abuse resulting in death.
Mr. Martins, how do you plead?
Guilty.
She faces up to 15 years in prison.
I think it should be a wake-up call if you're a single parent and you invite strangers into your home when you have kids. Michelle Martins, Victoria's mother, she had met Fabian Gonzalez on a dating website. She didn't know him very long. He has an arrest record. She lets him move into her apartment with her 2 children, her daughter and her little boy. Soon thereafter, his cousin gets out of prison and he says, hey, my cousin's going to come live with us too. So she allows 2 people that she does not know very well to live with her children. And her little boy was with his biological father the night that Victoria was murdered. So by the grace of God, he wasn't there.
No contest.
In January 2019, Jessica Kelly agreed to a plea deal of no contest to multiple charges, including child abuse resulting in death.
The state says that she helped dismember her, that she set her on fire, that she lets this strange man walk into the apartment. He kills the little girl and then he leaves.
Kelly will be required to testify against other suspects in the case and won't have to face a jury. She still faces up to 50 years in prison.
Just upset why they let her even take that when they should have served justice and took her to trial and found her guilty for what she did.
The sense that I get from the community is that there's a lot of frustration. They feel like there hasn't really been justice in this case. But I don't think a lot of people understand that's more than a life sentence here in New Mexico. A life sentence here is 30 years.
The things that has sort of haunted me from the beginning is this notion that we would be forced into a place where we wouldn't be able to hold everyone accountable. Either because of the evidence and because of the facts. We now have Jessica Kelly's cooperation, and I believe that that case is significantly strengthened.
Gonzalez and his lawyers maintain his innocence. He is now charged with child abuse resulting in death and tampering with evidence.
The attorneys for Fabian Gonzalez maintain that he didn't have anything to do with her death. It was a small apartment. They say he was woken up and didn't know what had happened to Victoria and he ran out.
Gonzalez was released from jail in November 2019, awaiting a trial date.
The reason why this is taking so long for Fabian to go to trial is prosecutors want to bring up what they say is his past, his ties to gangs and ties to drugs. Well, the judge in this case said no, so they're appealing that.
The news of Gonzalez's release sparked outrage in the Albuquerque community. Residents responded with protests in Victoria's name.
He's letting them out, saying that he's not a threat to society. I mean, we're talking about a horrific murder.
We're her voice, and we gotta speak up.
If nobody's gonna do it, we have to do it.
We're just waiting for the court to make a decision, and there's no timeline. So in the meantime, he is out in the community.
We want justice for Victoria!
While the search for Victoria's killer carries on, the community continues to honor her short life and ensure her name is not forgotten.
After her death, they had some memorials at the park and at her school. There's a bench that's put up at her school. Her classmates, they did a lot of artwork after her death. The community, on the anniversary of her death, they paid tribute to her.
Thank you to the residents of Albuquerque, as well as statewide, for your cards, flowers, makeshift memorials, as you paid respectful homage to our precious angel.
In August 2019, Albuquerque residents joined Victoria's grandparents and other family members for a memorial service in honor of what would have been her 13th birthday.
Happy birthday, dear Victoria.
She was a beautiful person inside and out. To remember her as the beautiful person that she was, I think is
just as important as trying to set the awareness for what led to this.
Everybody that is guilty of it needs to be held responsible. This was a child. I mean, her life ended way too soon.
I hope that the community can heal, because I know, I've interviewed the neighbors and the teachers and coaches, and just the ripple effect to this case has been really and truly horrific and devastating to a lot of people. I hope we never, ever have to report on anything like this again. And I hope that little girl is at peace.
The details of cases like Victoria's are difficult to listen to and even more difficult to talk about. But it's important to remember and honor victims like her whose lives ended too soon. We hope you'll take some time to remember Victoria and others like her from your communities. Share your thoughts with us in our Facebook group, Conversations from the Middle. I'm Alexandra Stone. Thanks for watching.